Children, today we will study about the types of chemical equilibrium. Now they are of two types. First is homogeneous chemical equilibrium. It is an equilibrium in which all the reactants and products are in same phase. Like take for example SO2 plus half O2 gives you SO3. Now in this case SO2 is also in gaseous state, O2 is also in gaseous state, and SO3 is also in gaseous state. Next type of equilibrium is heterogeneous equilibrium. In this, the reactants and products are in different phases. Like for example, 2 carbon plus O2 gives you 2 CO. Now in this case, carbon is solid, O2 is gas, and CO is also gas. So this type of an equilibrium will be called as heterogeneous equilibrium. Now we come to equilibrium constant expression for some reactions. So when we are writing the expression for equilibrium constant, you should keep in mind that the concentration of pure solid or liquid is taken as unity. Unity means 1. And the concentration of solvent is considered as constant because it is present in large excess and its concentration does not change appreciably during the reaction. Now, for example, if you see Al plus 3H plus gives you Al3 plus 3 by 2 H2. Now, in this case, Al is solid, so its concentration will be 1. 3H plus, Al3 plus and 3 by 2 H2 all are aqueous. So, K will be equal to Al3 plus concentration into H2 concentration divided by H plus concentration. Okay, concentration of products upon concentration of reactants. But in reactants, because Al is solid, so it will be 1, so we don't need to write that. Similarly, if you take the reaction HPO4 2 minus plus H2O gives you H3O plus PO4 3 minus. Now in this case, H2O is liquid, others are all in aqueous state, so K will be dependent on H3O plus into PO4 3 minus concentration divided by HPO4 2 minus concentration. Because water, it is in liquid, so it will be considered as 1. Alright, next is suppose you take the reaction CaCO3 gives you CaO plus CO2. Now in this case, CaCO3 is solid, CaO is solid, and CO2 is also solid. So K will be equal to concentration of CO2. The reason being that CaO is solid, so its concentration is 1, and CaCO3 is solid, so its concentration is also 1. Now remember that if K is increasing with temperature, it means that the reaction is endothermic, and if it is decreasing with temperature, it means that reaction is exothermic. Now we come to the next topic, that is application of equilibrium constant. Now it is used for a number of things. The first is predicting the extent of reaction. Now the value of equilibrium constant and the extent to which the reaction will proceed when equilibrium occurs are related. If K is very large, that is greater than 1000, then in that case reaction will proceed far towards completion. If K is equivalent to 1, then concentration of reactants and products are nearly the same at equilibrium. And if K is very small, that is less than 10 to power minus 3, then hardly any product will be formed and the reaction will proceed in backward direction. So this is the first application. But just by looking at the value of K, you can predict whether reaction will proceed in forward direction or backward direction. Second is predicting the direction of reaction. Now suppose there is a reaction A plus B gives you XX plus YY. Now at any stage of reaction other than the stage of chemical equilibrium, concentration ratio as given by the expression for law of chemical equilibrium is called concentration quotient or reaction quotient. It is given by Q, and value of Q becomes Q is equal to x to the power x into y to the power y upon a to the power a into b to the power b. Now if Q is equal to K, this condition, if Q is equal to K, then the reaction will be in equilibrium. If Q is greater than K, the reaction will tend to Q will tend to decrease, so to become equal to K. As a result, reaction will proceed in backward direction. This will have to, for these two to become equal, this will have to become less. So the reaction will move in backward direction. But if Q is less than K, then for these two to become equal, K will have to become less, Q will have to increase, so reaction will proceed in forward direction. So in this way you can predict the direction of reaction. Third application is calculating equilibrium concentrations. Now, knowing the initial concentration of reactant, equilibrium concentration of all the reactant and products can be calculated. For example, like if you take 2A plus B, a reaction 2A plus B is giving you C plus 2D. Now initial concentrations of A supposes alpha moles per liter, B is B mole A is A mole per liter, B is B mole per liter, C obviously in at this beginning of the reaction no products are formed, so C and D are 0. At equilibrium, suppose X amount of A has been used, so the concentration will become A minus X, and concentration of B will become B minus X upon 2. Why? Because A was twice in number, 2A tha, and over here it was only B. So X up, if X of A was used, so B only half of it, half of the concentration will be used. So B minus X upon 2. C again will be X upon 2. C will be formed, and because this is also 2D, so X amount of D will be formed. Understood? Again I am telling you, it was initially A. See, whatever quantity of B is present, twice the quantity of that of A is present, because it is 2A. Same way, whatever quantity of C is being formed, twice the quantity of D is being formed. So if A is used X, so half of A will become X by 2. So B minus X by 2 if B was the initial concentration. If C is formed, C will become X by 2, C is formed, and D, because it is 2D, X will be formed, and K will be equal to concentration of C into concentration of D to the power 2 upon concentration of A to the power 2 into concentration of B. I told you this in my previous video that the concentrations have to be raised to this stoichiometric coefficient, which is here 2, 1, 1 and 2. So what you get, X upon 2 into X square divided by A minus X square upon B minus X upon 2. And in this way you can calculate the value of X. Now next we come to characteristics of equilibrium constant. Equilibrium constant is given by Kc. Now the value of equilibrium constant for a particular reaction is constant, and it depends only on temperature, but it is independent of concentration of reactants. If the reaction is reversed, value of equilibrium constant becomes inverse. Inverse means 1 upon reciprocal. Now if the equation having K is divided by 2, equilibrium constant for the new equation is the square root of K. If you divide K by 2, equilibrium constant for new will become under root K. Okay, let us see with a few examples what is the meaning of this. First, let us take the example. Suppose we take this example, N2 plus 3H2 is giving you 2NH3. K will become NH3 whole square divided by concentration of N2 into concentration of H2 to the power 3. Now for the reaction, now what we are doing, we are dividing the reaction by 2. So for reaction 1 upon 2 N2 plus 3 upon 2 H2 gives you NH3. It was 2 NH3, it has become 1 NH3 here. K dash will become NH3 upon N2 to the power half H2 to the power 3 by 2, which comes equal to under root K. So if you have divided the whole equation by 2, then K can simply be calculated by, K dash can be calculated by simply taking the square root of the first. Okay. Next is if equation having equilibrium constant K is multiplied by 2. The new equilibrium constant is square of K. For example, if you have taken an equation H2 plus I2 gives you HI. Alright. Now for if suppose you multiply this equation by N. So NH2 plus NI2 gives you 2N HI. So in that case, if you have to calculate the equilibrium, you simply have to, if you know the equilibrium constant of the first equation, then you simply have to raise it to the power n. It can be 2, 3, 4, n can be any value, and you will get the equilibrium constant. Next is if equation having equilibrium constant K is written in 2 steps, then the first equilibrium constant of first step into equilibrium constant of second step is equal to K. Like for example, you have written N2 plus O2 gives you 2NO and 2NO plus O2 gives you 2NO2. Now in this case, the first step, for the first step, equilibrium constant K1 is equal to NO square divided by N square plus O2 square. It should be N square. Okay, this is a mistake here. It should be N square, not NO square. And for the second step, K2 square is equal to NO square plus NO square into O2. Okay, so K1 into K2 will become K. Value of equilibrium constant is not affected by addition of catalyst to the reaction. And value of Kp and Kc change with temperature. Kc varies with the temperature in accordance with the Bantoff equation, which is given by log 10 K2 upon K1 is equal to delta H upon 2.303 R into T2 minus T1 upon T1 into T2, where delta H, as you already know, is enthalpy or the heat of reaction. K1 is equilibrium constant at temperature T1 and K2 is equilibrium constant at temperature T2. R is the gas constant. Okay. Now next we come to units of equilibrium constant. When defined in terms of concentration or partial pressure, K will have different units in different reactions. Value of K is not truly constant as the concentration changes, the value of K also changes. So a dimensionless quantity called activity is used in expression of equilibrium constant. So K has no units. However, magnitude of equilibrium constant will depend upon standard state which is chosen. Like unit of Kp, that is unit of pressure, will be atmosphere to the power delta N. Unit of Kc will be mole per liter to the power delta N. And if delta N is equal to 0, then there will be no unit of Kp or Kc. If delta N is equal to number of, where delta N, what is delta N? It is the number of mole of product minus number of moles of reactants, and only gaseous phases are taken into account. So this is about the unit of equilibrium constant. Next we come to application of law of mass action and law of equilibrium. Now, law of mass action and law of equilibrium, they help us to predict the effect of change in pressure, concentration of reactant or product on state of equilibrium in a chemical reaction. Now, so there are 4 types. First is if the number of gaseous moles of reactants is equal to the number of gaseous moles of product. Number of reactants is equal to number of products and they are all gaseous. For example, H2 plus I2 is giving you 2HI. In that case, Kc will become Hi square divided by H2 into I2. Alright. Now at initial concentration, suppose of H2 is A, I2 is B, and obviously when the reaction starts, Hi has not been formed, so it will be 0. At equilibrium, suppose X moles of H2 have been used, so concentration will become A minus X, concentration of I2 will become B minus X, and concentration of Hi will become 2X. Now molar concentration or active mass is that mass which is taking part in reaction. At equilibrium will be H2, for H2 it will be A minus X upon V moles per liter. For I2 it will be B minus X upon V moles per liter, and for Hi it will be 2X upon V moles per liter. So Kc will become 2X upon V square divided by, you'll put the molar concentration values over here, A minus X upon V into B minus X upon V, which comes to 4X square divided by A minus X into B minus X. Similarly, if you see Kp, now at equilibrium you know A minus X, B minus X and 2X. Now total number of moles at equilibrium is A minus X plus B minus X will be equal to A plus B. So pressure of hydrogen will be A minus X upon A plus B, A minus X divided by A plus B, P. Pressure of iodine will be A minus X, B minus X divided by A plus B, P. And pressure at PHI will be 2X divided by A plus B, P. So Kp will become equal to Phi square divided by Ph2 into Pi2. So Phi square you know is 2x divided by A plus B into P whole square, and this will be divided by A minus X upon A plus B in P and B minus X upon A plus B P. So P square will get cancelled and you will get 4x square divided by A minus X into B minus X. So you can see that Kc and Kp, they are equal. Okay, this is the same value which you got for Kc and same value you are getting for Kp. Okay. Now effect of changing concentration on adding hydrogen or iodine to the equilibrium mixture. Let's see over here. On adding hydrogen or iodine to the equilibrium mixture, what will happen? The value of denomination of the equation, denominator of the equation increases, and to maintain constant value of Kc or Kp, the value of Hi will also should increase. That is, more H2 and I2 will combine to form Hi. And if the reverse effect will take place, if Hi is added, then more of Hi will decompose to give more of H2 and I2. So the direction will depend on that. If you are adding H2 and I2, direction will be in forward direction to form more of Hi. If you are adding more of Hi, it will go in reverse direction to decompose into H2 and I2. This is the effect of change of concentration. Changing pressure, as the expressions of Kp and Kc are independent of volume term, hence they are not affected by change in volume and pressure. Addition of an inert gas. If you add an inert gas to the equilibrium mixture, it will not make any effect on the equilibrium state, as pressure has no effect on equilibrium state. Okay. Next is, this was the first condition. Next is when the number of gaseous moles of product is greater than the number of moles of reactants. Okay, now this here we take disintegration of dinitrogen tetroxide. N2O4 is giving you 2NO2. Alright, now in this Kc is equal to NO2 square upon N2O4 and Kp is equal to P square NO2 divided by P N2O4. Initial concentration in these cases, suppose N2O4 was A moles and NO2 will obviously initially be 0. At equilibrium, the concentration becomes A minus X, and this becomes, because it is 2NO2, it becomes 2X. Okay, total number of moles at equilibrium will be A minus X plus 2X, which is equal to A plus X. A minus X plus 2X कितना होता है? A plus X. Evaluation of Kc. How will you calculate Kc? N2O4 is equal to A minus X, that is the concentration, divided by volume V. NO2 is equal to 2X upon V. So Kc will become equal to 2X upon V square divided by A minus X upon V, which comes to 4X square divided by A minus X V. Evaluation of Kp. PNO2 is given by 2X upon A plus X into P. PN2O4 is given by A minus X upon A plus X into P. So Kp becomes 2X minus P upon A plus X whole square divided by A minus X upon A plus X into P, which is equal to 4X square P divided by A minus X into A plus X. This value comes to 4X square P divided by A square minus X square. Okay, so this is the value of Kp when number of gaseous moles of products is greater than the number of gaseous moles of reactants. Now if you change the concentration on increasing N2O4, value of A will increase. To maintain a constant Kc value, X will increase, or more N2O4 will dissociate into NO2. If concentration of NO2 is increased, it will suppress the dissociation of N2O4. Effect of changing pressure. Expression for Kc has V in denominator, so increase in pressure will decrease the volume. And in order to maintain a constant value of Kc, X will decrease. Hence, lesser amount of N2O4 will dissociate. Decrease in pressure will lead to greater dissociation of N2O4. Okay, if you decrease the pressure, reaction will move in forward direction. If you add an inert gas, then at constant volume, the addition of inert gas will not change the molar concentration of reactants and products, and state of equilibrium will remain unaffected. At constant pressure, addition of inert gas will increase the total volume, and molar concentration of each of the reactant and product will decrease. But in order to keep Kc constant, equilibrium will shift towards the larger number of moles, that is in the forward direction towards the products. Okay, so this is the second type. Third type is when number of moles of gaseous products is less than number of moles of gaseous reactants. Now for this to explain this, I'll take the reaction. N2 plus 3H2 gives you 2NH3. Okay. Now initial concentration of N2 is A, H2 is B, and NH3 is 0. At equilibrium, concentration becomes A minus X upon V, B minus 3X because it is 3H2, b minus 3x upon v, and because it is 2NH3, it becomes 2x upon v. Okay. Kc will become equal to NH3 whole square divided by N2 into H2 cube. That becomes 2x upon v whole square divided by a minus xv into b minus 3x upon v cube. So Kc value comes to 4x square v square divided by a minus x into b minus 3x cube. If a is 1 and b is 3, Kc will become equal to 4x square v square divided by 27 1 minus x to the power 4. And if you have to calculate Kp, total number of moles at equilibrium is a minus x plus b minus 3x plus 2x. That becomes equal to a plus b minus 2x. So Pn2 will become equal to a minus x upon a plus b minus 2x. Ph2 will become equal to b minus 3x upon a plus b minus 2x and into p, and Pnh3 will become equal to 2x upon a plus b minus 2x into p. So Kp will become equal to p square NH3 divided by pH2 into p cube H2. So that is 2x upon a plus b minus 2x into p square divided by a minus xp upon a plus b minus 2x into b minus 3x upon a plus b minus 2x into p whole cube. So Kp comes equal to, this value of Kp becomes equal to 4x square into a plus b minus 2x whole square divided by p square into a minus x into b minus 3x whole cube. Now in this case, if you increase the concentration of N2 or H2, it will increase the value of A or B, and to maintain a constant Kc, formation of NH3 will be favored. On changing the pressure, Kc is directly proportional to the square of the volume of the vessel. So by increasing pressure, volume decreases as well as Kc decreases. Again, to maintain the constant value of Kc, the X value should increase. Therefore, formation of ammonia will be favored by increase in pressure. Okay. Now, fourth type, we come to reactions in liquid state. For this, we will take a reaction of hydrolysis of ethyl acetate. The reaction is CH3COO C2H5 plus H2O is giving you CH3COOH plus C2H5OH. Now, initial moles of, suppose ethyl acetate is A, water is B, acetic acid is 0, and ethyl alcohol is also 0. At equilibrium, it becomes, ethyl acetate becomes A minus X, water becomes B minus X, acetic acid becomes X, and ethyl alcohol also becomes X. Equilibrium concentration becomes A minus X upon V, B minus X upon V, X upon V, and X upon V. Now, Kc will become equal to, if you substitute the values in this, you get X upon V into X upon V divided by A minus X upon V into B minus X upon V, which will come to X square divided by A minus X into B minus X. Now, in this case, if you change the concentration on adding ethyl acetate, the value of X in the numerator should increase. Thus, hydrolysis is favored by increase in concentration. If you change the pressure, V does not appear in the expression for Kc, so there will be no change. Okay, so these are the four types. Now next we come to Le-Chatelier's principle. According to Le-Chatelier's principle, if a system in equilibrium is subjected to change in temperature, pressure or concentration, the equilibrium shifts in such a way so as to undo the effect of stress imposed. Now, the factors which affect chemical equilibrium. First is effect of change of concentration. Now, increase in concentration of any one of the components shifts the equilibrium in opposite direction. For example, if you increase the concentration of any one of the reactants, equilibrium will shift to forward direction. And if you increase the concentration of the products, any one of the product, equilibrium will shift in backward direction. Like for example, in case of manufacture of ammonia, N2 plus 3H2 gives you 2NH3. So if you are adding N2 or H2, the reaction will proceed in forward direction. But if you are adding ammonia, reaction will proceed in backward direction. Next is effect of change of temperature. If a reversible process is exothermic in forward direction, it will be endothermic in backward direction. Like for example, let me just come to that clip. Sorry. Just a minute. Like if in the reaction N2 plus 3H2 is giving you N2 plus 3H2 is giving you what? 2NH3. Alright. So if in the forward direction 92 kilojoules is being released. So N2 in the forward direction the reaction is exothermic, whereas in backward direction it is endothermic. Now according to Le-Chatelier's principle, if you increase the temperature, equilibrium will shift in direction in which heat is absorbed. So in which direction heat is being absorbed? In the endothermic process, isn't it? So the equilibrium will shift in backward direction at low temperature, and equilibrium shifts towards right and favors the formation of ammonia. All right. If temperature is increased, equilibrium will shift in the direction in which heat is absorbed, that is the backward direction, and at low temperature, and the equilibrium shift towards right and favors the formation of ammonia. So optimum temperature for the reaction is 775 Kelvin. Similarly, if suppose you take another example, 2SO2 plus O2 is giving you 2SO2. In this case, delta H is minus 198 kilojoules. So oxidation of SO2 to SO3 is exothermic process. Okay, and it is favored by decrease in temperature. So optimum temperature for the reaction is 675 to 725 Kelvin. Right? Now next is effect of change of pressure. Change of pressure has no effect on state of equilibrium if subsystem does not have any gaseous components, or if the number of moles of reactant is equal to the number of moles of products. According to Le-Chatelier's principle, if we increase the pressure, the rate of reaction will increase, which causes a decrease in pressure. So on increasing pressure, volume decreases, hence molar concentration increases. So to undo this change, reaction will proceed towards that side which will produce lesser number of moles of gaseous substances. Like for example, again we'll take the same example, N2 plus 3H2 is giving you 2NH3 plus 92 kilojoules energy. This is the formation of ammonia by Haber's process. A better yield is obtained at high pressure of 200 to 900 atmosphere as rate of forward reaction increases due to decrease in the number of moles in the forward direction. SO2 plus O2 gives you 2SO3. On increasing pressure, rate of forward reaction will increase, but in actual practice, high pressure is not used as acidic SO3 corrodes the reaction vessel easily at high temperature. Next we come to effect of catalyst. Catalyst has no effect on state of equilibrium because catalyst increases the rate of forward as well as the rate of backward reaction to the same extent. It only helps in attainment of equilibrium state. For example, reaction between ethyl alcohol and acetic acid to form ethyl acetate and water. It is catalyzed by presence of small amount of HCl, and equilibrium is established within a few hours. Okay. Next comes effect of addition of inert gas. If inert gas like helium, neon, etc. is added to system at equilibrium at constant volume, the molar concentration of reactants and products do not change, and there will be no change in position of equilibrium. When inert gas is added to system at constant pressure, the volume of system increases and decreases the molar concentration of reactants and products. When volume will increase, concentration of reactant and products will decrease. Hence, equilibrium will shift in the direction in which there is increase in number of moles of gases. Thus, if delta n is positive, then equilibrium will shift towards right. If delta n is negative, equilibrium will shift towards left. And if delta n is 0, equilibrium will not be affected. So I'll be sending you the worksheet on this. Just revise it and try to see all that I have taught you. Just go through it again. Okay, very carefully. Okay, this is all for now.